And alarming developments today for two prisoners that the U.S. says are being wrongfully detained by Vladimir Putin. Russia's most prominent opposition leader, Alexei Navalny, was suddenly moved from the prison where he's been serving an 11.5-year sentence to a high-security prison farther from Moscow. Secretary Blinken tweeting yesterday that the U.S. is deeply troubled by the news that Navalny was moved from the penal colony without notice to his lawyer or his family. And American WNBA star Brittney Griner's detention in Russia has been extended until July 2nd, according to the Russian state news agency TASS. Griner was detained at a Russian airport on February 17th after authorities said she had vape cartridges containing a cannabis derivative in her bag. In May, the State Department said Griner was wrongfully detained. Joining me now, former U.S. Ambassador to Russia, Michael McFaul. So, Ambassador, a number of things. Friends of opposition leader Alexei Navalny, you know him well, are very worried, they say, about the secret move to another location, concerns about even another possible assassination attempt. He's been poisoned already twice, I think, by the Kremlin. What do you know about Alexei Navalny and his being moved, and what are your concerns?
Well, he's been moved to a place farther away. It's known to have much worse conditions. They want to cut him off from the outside world, make it more difficult for him to meet with his lawyers. That's the way he communicates these days. He meets with his lawyers, they talk, he then sends messages to his family and friends and his activists that are still very, the Navalny organization is still alive and well, mostly working outside of the country. They're trying to cut off those ties. And yes, everybody should be worried about his physical condition. The less eyes and less contact that we have with him, the more likely that something tragic could happen.
And of course, he returned to Russia even after being poisoned and recovering in Germany, and took that risk because he is committed to the opposition that has been crushed by the Kremlin. The Biden administration also has previously said it is working to try to bring Brittney Griner home, meeting with her team and her supporters, trying to figure out what information they can get. Do you have any information on why her detention has now been extended?
Nothing that's not in the, in the public domain. I think of it maybe as a good sign, by the way, because it's just a couple more weeks. I think that means they're trying to decide what to do with her rather than they've made that decision. I suspect they want to do a swap, just like they did with Trevor Reed, where they got one of their real criminals out of jail for Mr. Reed. And there's one always on the top of the list. His name's Victor Bout. He's a real criminal. He was indicted. He sits in jail for reasons. And even when I was ambassador many, many years ago, Andrea, they were trying to think of deals as a way to get him out. And I'm just speculating here, but I wonder if they think we did it with Trevor Reed, maybe we can do it again with in this case. I know those are really hard decisions for the Biden administration to make because it sets a bad precedent. But getting Brittney Griner out of Russia must be a top priority for the Biden administration.
And Russia now controls 80% of Severodonetsk in eastern Ukraine. President Zelensky is stressing the urgency of getting those long-range missile defense systems in and artillery systems in. It's our understanding that Ukraine is still training its troops on the new long-range artillery. So even those artillery are not in yet, not in place.
That's right. All depressing news today, isn't it, Andrea? 3 in a row. It is a horrible, tragic story unfolding in Donbass. The Russians have the overwhelming advantage, both in terms of the range and the number of long fires that they have, and to devastating effect. They are winning incrementally, of course. They're not making giant progress, but they are winning, and the Ukrainians are running out of ammunition. They don't have those long, either the HIMARS, as they're called, these long-range multiple rocket systems, or they need more howitzers too. They need more long-range, long fires so that they can fire at the Russians that are attacking them. It feels like a pretty desperate situation right now. I hope the West and the NATO leaders, when they meet, will try to reverse the balance of power on the battlefield out in Donbass, because right now it favors Putin, and Putin will not stop marching in Ukraine until he is forced to stop. I think that's a very important point that people need to understand. He'll only begin to negotiate when he no longer can achieve his objectives on the battlefield, Today, tragically, he's achieving his objectives on the battle. Responsible for some of the energy prices, and that we need to stand firm. A loss for Ukraine is not just for them, it's a loss for NATO and the rest of the free world.